Hey, Aaron, good morning.
Hey, Danny. Good morning. How are you?
And good morning to our listeners out there. This is another recap episode of episodes 10, 11, and 12.
It's time for a recap. Sorry.
We're not going to record an actual jingle.
No,
it's just going to always rely on you for that.
Yeah, I'm the jingle guy. Yeah.
Those episodes are with Gretchen Worthen called Cross Coverage Across Genres, and Andrew Toth, Creating Crew Agency, and Kevin Masterson, Laughing Through The PAin. Laughing Through The PAin.
Pian.
If you haven't listened to those 3 episodes, go check them out. They're very good. Always proud of our episodes, actually. Always excited to talk to our guests. Because we had some really great conversations.
Yeah. This block was really fun. Some cool insights from Gretchen on her episode.
In a genre that you and I are not really familiar with, so it's always
Correct.
good to get someone else's insight.
Yeah,
on our industry that we don't fully understand ourselves.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it was cool to hear a perspective that I don't, like you said, we don't have as much experience with, but also to kind of realize just how much agency it takes to do that job.
Yeah,
like you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it right there. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Almost like I don't know. We'll get into this, but there's like a producing level,
exactly,
especially with Gretchen's
Yes.
story. It's like, or just having multiple trains of thought happening all at the same time.
Yeah, thinking about the big picture more than is normally necessary,
right?
Probably,
right.
For what we do. I mean, we think about the big picture. Don't get me wrong, but you also are doing one shot at a time usually.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is, I think, when you're working on a unscripted show, as Gretchen talks about, you have to be on. You can't go. Let me know. I'm gonna go grab a coffee from Crafty and I'll be right back. It's like the scene is happening now, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. Yeah. In the narrative space, you have an opportunity to see it.
Yeah.
Or even if you don't get to see it, you've read it. There's so many other things that allow you to prepare yourself in other ways. And in reality TV, it's happening, and you are now thinking, how do we tell this story? How does it cut together in the editing room,
right,
seamlessly? And you have to be making those decisions as you're doing it. So tricky.
It's easy to think that it's a producer and a director kind of controlling those elements too, because they're being put together that way ultimately.
Right.
But what was cool talking with Gretchen is realizing how much of it is dependent on the operator. How much of collecting the information that they're going to use later to tell what happened.
Yeah.
To piece it together and go, what happened here?
Right.
It really does depend on the operators to say, okay, we need to give them as much information as possible about what is happening, so that the story can be recounted properly. Yeah. So, and then she talks about coverage, I think, is a big part of how they achieve that. Right.
Well, yeah. What to cover again.
What is coverage?
The things
I feel like that term, we use it just so liberally, like, oh, everybody knows what we mean when we say coverage.
You like always throw the
pulling
definitions.
Pulling the cover up and, nice and warm.
You throw the definitions at me. I'm going to throw it at you. You tell me, what is coverage, Aaron?
No. See, you sound you got into my little secret here.
Go ahead.
I was going to put it on you. All right, coverage.
Nice mug, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Shameless
for those
promotion.
Not watching on YouTube, we have some scene change mugs. You can go to the website and purchase some merch.
Oh, really? We have a website?
Not yet. No.
No, we should do a merch site or whatever. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah, we have stickers. Okay. So
coverage. What is coverage?
Coverage, right? Oh, I almost got out of it. Coverage is Well, we're both Steadicam operators, so we like to try to cover as much of the scene in one shot if we can. Mm-hmm. Doing a cool oneer like, I don't know, 1917 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But if you aren't doing your whole movie that way, if you're not doing your whole project in one long, deliberate shot, like a theater stage play or whatever, then you are using an edit and you're cutting together multiple shots. And that would imply that you're using additional shots to cover additional things.
Yeah.
So that's where the term comes from, I believe. Coverage.
It's a good, yeah. I don't know where it comes from.
But we're usually just talking about extra
it,
shots, right? Like literally you could do a scene where it's one shot and, you know, like that covers most of the scene and you go, oh, well what do we need? What do we owe?
Sports broadcast is actually a good example of that. There's only, you could cover the game with one camera.
Yeah, just that wide shot of the football field or,
so the coverage is conveying information needed to understand the story in full.
Close-up shot of the ball as it goes through the air.
Yeah. Did it go in?
It's a football game. You know, I thought I was watching tennis.
Thank you for showing me that oblong-shaped football.
Okay, so now, Professor Aaron and Danny are done talking about coverage. But yeah, ultimately we use that word a lot because it's how we understand what we need to do when we're operating and how we need to think about the assignment.
And speaking of while operating, Gretchen made an interesting point about settling in. I think that's the phrase she used, while you're operating. And you and I have that. I mean, every operator has that opportunity to do that, right? Is to like be comfortable while the camera's on your shoulder. And I mean, comfort is, I guess, the biggest issue here. Or not issue, is the biggest thing here because...
Yeah, if you're doing really, really long takes, right, you have to be in a position that you can maintain.
Yeah. And if the scene is funny, then you have to be preparing yourself not to laugh, right? And that can be really difficult, especially in reality TV. I mean, I don't know. Actually, narrative is really tough too because in a comedy you have a lot of improv moments. So I guess narrative and reality TV share that unexpected joke that could come out of nowhere, and you have to hold it together.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what Gretchen said. What she says what she's saying to herself.
Settle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. She just says settle.
I'm gonna use it too because it's like just having some kind of a mantra or some kind of something to like. I got to get back into that mode of like, I love to laugh. I love laughing. I laugh way too much.
I do too.
Obviously, I'm like laughing at our guest jokes because they are funny, but I'm also just enjoying laughing.
Right.
So it's hard to go, wait a minute, this is a comedy. So no more laughing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a camera operator. I'm not allowed to laugh. I'm going to shake it.
Right.
You have to like come up with a way to essentially put your viewer on the shelf. Like I would totally be laughing at all these jokes right now.
Yeah.
Because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I'm the operator, so I have to.
Right. You're not
even
allowed.
Though I am normally the viewer, I'm supposed to be engaged. I have to like disengage somehow
while being engaged.
It's horrible.
I know. It's I know.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Why does everyone else get to laugh?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Me?
No, but I like hearing other techniques from other operators, especially somebody like Gretchen who is in the middle of a scene that could be dramatic and all of a sudden people are laughing or telling really funny jokes and you have to be able to do that on the fly.
Yeah.
So she has this method of, basically controlling that impulse or that reaction so that she can continue to control the camera.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is very cool.
It's great. I love it.
Not knowing when the scene ends.
Oh my gosh. That's the hardest part of the job for unscripted. That's because you're not able to rely on the script.
Right.
That tells you, somebody enters at this point, somebody leaves at this other point or whatever. Yeah. Whenever the scene ends.
The worst thing for people like you and me, Aaron, in that narrative space is the director saying, okay, let's go right into it. When you think it's done, you're like, I got to go again. It's a whole page.
Yeah. You're about to rest. You're like, okay, good. We're almost done. And I'm about to get to recover.
Yeah.
Oh, no, keep it going. Keep it rolling. Yeah. We're going to do another one right on. Yeah, I want to stay in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to stay in this moment where my back is breaking?
Yeah, but imagine
so
being someone like Gretchen who's like has no idea when it ends.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you can kind of get a sense of when the conversation's going to, die, but there's one person that's going to say cut, and who knows? Or you're just like, just leave the room, please go.
Yeah.
In this scene. I don't know. That seems hard.
Well, and staying aware to be ready for the unexpected stuff too, because it's not just about the scene that you are clearly expecting to happen.
Right.
These two people are sitting at a table talking. What could happen?
Right.
Like if they see somebody else, or there's like a interaction with a server or any of that stuff, and it ends up being like telling something about a detail about that character or whatever. Like those moments matter, and being aware of how you might want to include or cover them matters too.
Yeah.
So for unscripted, you have to be super, super aware of like, I might be doing a single, but if it needs to become the loose over to see the body language of the person they're talking to, then I'm the one to do that.
Right.
Because there's not going to be another chance to do that.
Yeah. Again,
I got to zoom out so that I can see that this person in the foreground's uncomfortable or what.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, always staying engaged.
Yeah.
Even if it's a 45-minute take or gosh.
Even as you have to disengage to not laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Total mind.
Exactly.
Mind meld. I don't know. I don't know what safe term I can use.
Five angles of a scene.
Yeah. 5 angles.
That's kind of her rule, is like she's looking at the scene and going, I need five angles is the safe number to cover the scene.
Right.
Right.
Well, and what if you're like, 4 angles covered that pretty well? Just having the rule of like, do I need a 5th angle is actually a good way to go. Oh no, you know what? This one played that way. Or sometimes you realize like there is a benefit of that shot that you're not able to see right now. Like you were talking before we started recording about going to a wide shot to see the people who aren't engaged in the dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
I would never even thought about that necessarily, because these people haven't said anything.
Right.
But the audience also wants to know that. Like if they can't see that these people aren't engaging in the conversation somehow in a wide shot, then they're being excluded from a tight shot or whatever, and you might not even know they were there.
Yeah, or actually including them in this subtlest of ways, like giving them a second to react to somebody saying something.
Yeah, exactly.
But not actually being fully engaged in that conversation.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
No, the five angles thing is I thought it was pretty smart. Because again, she's doing that while, oh, you know what? We asked her, what did she learn in reality TV that transferred over to narrative?
Yeah. And
she mentioned the 5 angles, which I think she does. She's doing that in reality TV. She's got herself in a position where she's shot a wide shot of this conversation happening, and she's already analyzing the scene going, okay, who's involved in this? What is the potential for each character, and how do we cover that? And that's where the 5 angles came from. But then she talks about when she's in the narrative space that they do a rehearsal, and she's watching it, and she starts to lay down tape marks of where the camera positions are going to be.
She's it's like a rehearsal almost, right?
Yeah. Well,
for unscripted, like how as rehearsed as you can be is to maybe be rehearsing a future position for a camera.
Yeah. Well, did she do that? Does she do that trick in narrative or in unscripted? The tape, the camera positions ahead of
I think she was saying that she does that for unscripted.
Oh, really? Oh.
But maybe that was
now we have to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, but they're both
either way. I mean, marking
yeah,
being a great way to kind of give yourself a temporary structure for what is going to happen and how you're going to collect it as a as a crew, as a team.
And it's a great tool for efficiency too. I mean, it seems like, I don't know, I think in my experience, I've never laid down camera positions, but I may have like made a mental note of like, that's important over there, that's important over there. But you're communicating to the whole team, the whole crew, going, we're going to start here on this wide, and then we're going to go to that tape mark, and then that tape mark, and then that tape mark, and then we'll get our 5
Yeah,
angles,
everybody benefits from that communication.
Right? And it's like, it seems silly, but it's so important to just be able to have everybody know without telling them as it's happening.
Right.
If everybody knows that once we finish this position, we're going to go over there. And then as soon as the director says, cut, moving on, everybody's mind is all of a sudden about that mark over there.
Right.
Seems like you're saving seconds, but it really saves a whole lot more than just that.
Well, it's a roadmap, right?
Yeah.
It's intention that has been communicated.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all waiting for all day long.
Yeah.
You know, communicate your intentions, and we will apply our experience.
Yeah.
And as soon as those intentions are communicated through a mark, as soon as they're communicated through a rehearsal that has been, you know, repeated and looks like it's going to play that way. But with unscripted, you don't get the benefit of rehearsal. In fact, if something's happening, if they're like, oh, let's just have kind of like you're going to be over here, you're going to be over here, we're going to talk about these things. Like if that's happening in unscripted, the scene might start happening.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like the last thing a producer or a director wants to do with unscripted content is be like, oh yeah, let's just talk about the scene we'll do tomorrow. Right. Like, no, that means the scene's happening now.
Right.
So I think Gretchen does a good job of kind of understanding that and recognizing like you don't necessarily know what the show will be until you're in that moment ready to kind of experience it and capable of seeing what this show should be. Yeah. Not just a traditional like, okay, we're kind of doing this the same way we did yesterday, but actually going, no, this scene is unique, and we all as operators have to be super, super sensitive to the potential for what could happen. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a different type of operating. I know. It really is. And like thinking about live, putting marks down and going, what you're saying was making me think of like a live show or whatever. And you're going to get marks. You're going to know the camera positions roughly, maybe not Steadicam or whatever, but you're going to know where the base of the jib is. You're going to know where your 15 cameras in the stands are. So there's like with unscripted, you don't have the benefit of knowing fixed positions, but you might at least be able to start putting some intention towards where you would want the camera to start. Mm-hmm. So that way, you know, for example, if the scene is supposed to take place in the living room and then they start walking down the hallway, well, we had camera positions designed for this space. Right. But now they're breaking out of what we've intended. Yeah. Like, somebody might not even know that was intended unless you would put those marks down. Now, as they're going down that hallway, everything's, you know, the wheels are falling off. Yeah. Well, that happens all the time with unscripted. She, I think, even mentions like sometimes the crew splits or whatever. Like the team splits, and you're like, oh, where do we go?
You have to make a decision.
You have to make a decision, and like being that aware, being that like intentional and connected to the content that you're creating as a camera operator is so unique and so special, I think, because you're saying, okay, we place this intention not just to be intentional, but to know when to violate this intention that we designed and run down the hallway and follow these people to create a new, totally unpredictable scene. A scene that has the lighting's everywhere. Like, none of this stuff is what we were intending, but it's happening. These characters are doing this scene, whether we like it or not. And these operators and sound professionals are making that scene work. Right. And that break from the intention is part of the unscripted world, where I think you kind of have to be you have to have a meta perspective in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you have to actually know that, like, I'm gonna end up on camera here and there. You know, I could end up being part of this story.
True.
I mean, it happens.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
see camera
you're right.
operators in these shows.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
I know somebody like bumped into a camera operator at one point, and it became a whole thing on one show. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. No, I mean,
they're people. Hey, guess what?
If for whatever reason the character in that show decides to point out a camera operator for
Right, yeah.
or start chit chatting with it, like, they're part of the story.
Yeah.
Her Instagram account is called Lady Camera Guy.
Yes.
You should give her a follow.
It's very interesting. I see that probably more than a lot of accounts, simply because it's so unique. There's something new all the time. New people, new professionals featured all the time, and all around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's international, which is really exciting.
It's her account, but it's a selfless account. She doesn't promote herself ever, I don't think, and is constantly spotlighting a female operator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Around the world, like you said.
It's great.
It's cool. And she's
Visibility matters.
Yeah.
I think she said that, but it's also, it's important for people to see the potential in themselves, to see someone else who looks like them, and recognize, like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, totally.
So I think what she's doing with that Instagram account is really, really important. Like, bigger than it looks. You know, on the surface, it's just an Instagram account, but it's actually showing the world what female camera operators are doing right now today.
Right. Yeah.
It's exciting.
And she has a post about someone else every day, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's I don't know, she's doing a lot of great work with that. It's actually fun to see a friend like pop up on her feed every now and then. You're like, oh, hey, there's so-and-so.
Yeah. All right. She made the feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And she supports, like, if you click into the bio link page, whatever, she has so many organizations that she supports, like SOC, Women in Film, CPR was another one. CPR Hollywood. I don't know what it stands for, but it's a program that is a training grounds for people who want to break into the industry.
Good. We need more training opportunities and people willing to mentor and train.
Yeah. No, it's great. Check it out. Lady Camera Guy.
Yeah, and she tells the story about how that name came about, which is pretty funny and pretty interesting.
Funny, also kind of sad.
A little sad, yeah, but sad in the sense that perspective is ingrained,
maybe
right?
not
and we kind of have to, like, help each other along as we recognize our biases and things that we don't realize we're saying or doing.
Right, exactly. It's a perspective on, like, I don't want to give the story away, so you need to go check out the episode. The name came from someone who said something that maybe they didn't realize what they were saying when they said it, right?
Yeah. Like so many of us all the time.
All the time. It's true.
Oh, boy.
Andrew.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the next episode. Andrew's episode is called Creating Crew Agency. And it's a pretty it's not super different, but he's a little bit out of the wheelhouse of what we've been doing, because Andrew is, his background is in being a rental agent or marketing agent. What was the term?
I think he was a marketing. I don't know. They coincide in some ways.
There's a lot of different terms that rental houses use for it, but essentially the person who is going to be communicating with the camera assistants in the field and getting them the right equipment.
Yeah. The person
putting the order together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person answering the phone, putting the order together.
Yep. And that's super important, but it's not necessarily part of the crew. It's not on the crew list or on the call sheet.
Right.
But I mean, you've done more of this than I have personally, because you've had to, like, get all of those random lenses and all this stuff ordered. And I mean, do you want to speak to that?
Sure.
A little bit?
So what Aaron's referring to is the camera assistant who is in charge of getting extra gear. Typically it's extra pieces. I guess in this particular there I do it. I'm doing it again where I lose my words. The camera assistant will put in an order for any additional gear that production is in need of.
Right.
So I have an interesting story, actually. So I was on a show where it was a Panavision show, but we were using the DP's lenses that were PL mounted. For those that don't know, that's the mount is the PL mount, and the PV mount is a mount that's on the lens that attaches to the camera. And those are two different mounts, so they wouldn't work together, right?
Yep.
So he had PL mounted lenses, and we were using PV cameras, Panavision mounted cameras. So whatever additional lenses that we got from Panavision needed to have PL mounts.
Right, not the PV
on
mount.
the lens. So Panavision lenses are PV mounted lenses. So every time we needed additional lenses, I had to make that call and go, we need an 11-1 and it needs to be PL mounted.
Right.
Which is a headache.
Yeah.
Especially if that lens is needed in an emergency situation. Because now what used to just be grab it off the shelf and ship it is now grab it off the shelf, send it to the lens guy at Panavision. They're going to swap it out.
It's like saying I want a popsicle from Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
a little bit. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. We can do it. It's going to take a second.
Yeah.
And our marketing rep was very much aware of that nightmare, and she did a great job of being ahead of it constantly.
You want to give her a shout out? I mean,
yeah, Alexa Lopez.
Yeah. She's great. One of the best.
Who's not at Panavision anymore, but she's her own creative agent.
Oh, here we go. Good.
She's at APA.
Okay.
That I think
cool.
was bought out by somebody else, or they changed their name. But she's an agent for DPs and DPs. Yeah.
Very cool. And Andrew is trying to take his experience as a rental agent and start his own agency.
Yeah.
Which is actually targeted toward below the line, right?
Right.
So it's pretty unique. It's different from what Alexa's a part of then.
It's, it's funny. It's kind of like it's like a response to what our our union doesn't have. Local 600 is not a place that will get you work.
Right.
Not that Andrew is going to get you work, but it's just another avenue that is there.
Yeah.
That could lead to work.
Yeah.
Right. Local 600 is not going to go, hey, we need you over here to work on this. Sorry guys. If you're watching on YouTube, our camera just went down.
Yeah, but
it's okay,
we'll put in a logo or something for the part that isn't there.
You're going to see it right now.
That's the cool thing about video is it doesn't matter.
I got distracted. I can't multitask.
My favorite thing about video and Gretchen's episode is that it doesn't matter. It's just the sound that matters.
You're right. That's true.
No, that's not really it. That's pretty extreme.
So
but
anyways,
sound does matter.
And Andrew's
and listening. Oh, we forgot to talk about listening.
Oh, shoot.
Listening as a camera operator, super important. Anyway.
We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll save that. You know what? The camera stopped, so let's just circle back.
We're going to do a recap on our recap.
We need to recap this recap in the middle of the recap.
Let's take a pause. Comment below while we, anyways. Enough of that rant.
Totally reading them.
Enough of that rant. No, all that to say, Andrew has an agency that is open to crew members who, he's like a Rolodex.
ABL agency, above, below the line.
Yeah.
And it's connecting people who are below the line to the right productions, the right opportunities, because that's a big part of what's basically missing from if you have a regular machine, you don't necessarily need to connect the dots because it's all connected.
Yeah.
But what's happening and what's been happening with some of these slowdowns, with some of these interruptions, I think is there's a little bit of a disconnect in terms of how we crew up, how we connect and when and where we all are. I mean, some of these crews are traveling so much too. I think that might be part of it, which Andrew brings up, right?
Yeah.
He talks a little bit about where production might be going in the future. And
yep.
I don't know.
Budapest.
It's all going to Budapest, guys.
All of it's at Budapest.
Everything's going to Budapest or Budapest. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly, but
no, I love what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because as a line producer, that person can go, we are looking for a Steadicam operator who's incredibly comfortable with traveling for this job because we're going to go to 19 different countries in a month or whatever, right?
Yeah. I feel like
so Andrew knows that Steadicam operator is like, oh, you know what? I know that person's gonna be great because they've done a lot of travel and they're totally comfortable doing this and this and this. So it's a little more, he says boutique.
Yeah.
He gets to know the crew member and has an actual understanding rather than it just being a posting on Mandy.com or whatever those sites are.
Right.
Like anybody can just sign up, create a profile and put the keywords in. It's like, I can do this and this and this, but like, are you right for the job with your personality and, the whole thing.
Well, so much of when we are crewing up, it's like you're looking for one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for two things, it gets a lot harder, right?
Right.
You're looking for a camera assistant. You're looking for
an
operator. You're looking for one thing. But as soon as you say, I'm looking for a camera assistant who can speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting more specific. We need somebody who knows, who has a Rolodex that has those details.
Right. Basically.
And I think that's part of what he wants to do is actually recognize that there's all these other skill sets that we're bringing that aren't just the thing. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what that's a big part of what this podcast is about, right? You might find your identity as one thing right now. Today you might be doing this thing. You might have been hired to do this thing, but ultimately, and everybody knows that we bring so much more to what we do. We're not just the one thing that we're hired to do today.
Yeah.
Your job might be to just speak English all the time. Great. Well, if you speak Spanish and Chinese and all these other languages, that's all literally being wasted.
Yeah.
You're bringing all of that to work and not using any of that experience.
True.
So I think kind of recognizing the value of an agency that can say, yeah, this pool of experienced technicians are important, but they're also bringing a ton of other things to the table that aren't really being appreciated or recognized.
Yeah.
Like their ability to operate a GoPro and keep it rolling during the whole scene.
That's not me.
Might be a really important skill set that nobody knows is important until it becomes really important in the moment.
Wow, you really put me on blast.
I'm just kidding. I don't know how to operate a GoPro. See, this is why you're here.
As long as the red light is blinking, and then when that red light stops blinking, we're in trouble.
I know. We get nervous. Every time it blinks, I get nervous.
I mean, that's important to know. I should know.
I wish it was just a solid red light.
Why does this stop recording? I'd be fired from the job that requires the GoPro to go for longer than 30 minutes.
Maybe the next GoPro can have a built-in beep. It can have like an audio interruption.
It does.
Oh, it does.
I turned that off. I know that.
Oh, you had to turn that off.
I know that about it.
Very good. It should have, the lens cap should always be swinging in front of it too. That would be nice.
Yeah, when did we talk about that?
Diego's episode.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Anyway, we're trying our best to make this also a video experience for you guys, but we're using these Go amateurs and it's difficult to make it work. So
we need a GoPro technician on our show.
We do. We could use that. Yeah, I don't know that we could afford it, but we could use it. We're talking about connecting, networking, and also being able to access, I think, is what's so cool about ABL and Andrew. Accessing the skills that aren't necessarily on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the call sheet's got one thing that you bring to the table, but there's a lot more to who we are as people and creatives.
Right.
Bringing a lot more than just our one thing.
Yeah. Oh, what's funny? I was trying to think of an example of a skill that would be that came about, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad you knew how to do that.
Yeah.
I actually was called to operate. It never happened because they cut back on the scene, or they simplified the scene or something. There was it was for The Rookie, I think. There was two characters who were playing roller hockey.
Oh, cool.
And I got a phone call randomly from a producer that's like, hey, I hear that you play hockey. And I go, yeah. Like, well, would you like to come operate on this thing for C Camera? I'm like, sure. And I asked, I was like, do you need me on skates? Is this like a action thing? They're like, no, it's just two people, just like they're in love and they're playing street hockey. And I'm like, okay, why did you call me?
Right.
Like, well, you know how to play the game, so we just want to make sure that we're.
Oh, they hired you as like
representing the game.
Hockey pro?
As
like
a hockey.
No, what is that called?
Shoot.
Authenticity advisor?
Yeah, that's one way of saying it. Yes.
I mean, that's
advisor.
Important though.
Yeah.
Because or consultant.
Consultant. Thank you. That's the word.
There's probably another C word. Consistency consultant. Something that I can do. I can do an alliteration.
Consultant.
Yeah, but there's got to be another.
Yeah.
Quality consultant. That works.
That's a C word.
QU is a C word. As long as you add the U, it becomes a C.
Actually, my friend Chris Nelson was on that job, and he is actually a hockey consultant. He's I think he's a hockey. He's called a hockey coordinator. I may be getting that wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
But no,
that's super important. Like the last thing you want your audience who loves hockey and knows it better than anybody is to watch some fake hockey game.
Right-handed hockey player using a left-handed stick. Like you look like a dummy.
Oh my gosh.
Totally.
Dude. I'm sure it happens. Totally.
It seems like the easiest thing in the world, but those mistakes happen all the time. Really.
Yeah. You can't use the back of the stick. It's impossible.
Oh my gosh. I did watch one show where they were ice skating and the crane came up over the scene at the end and they were skating it was an outdoor set. Obviously the set was indoors, you could tell, but it was meant to be outdoors. And the rink was artificial ice, which is in tiles. They're like 2 foot by 2 foot tiles that snap together. You could see the seams of the tiles on this rink. I'm like, I guess, I don't know. What are you going to do? Actually pour a sheet of ice on the stage? But I was so mad at it.
Yeah, seams, man. Seams. What are we going to do about those seams?
Anyways, Chris Nelson, hockey coordinator. I want to get him on. I've been trying to get him on as a guest, but he's busy.
That would be great. Yeah, good for him.
He was on.
Well, it's hockey season.
He did Miracle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you know what that movie is? Or you
I do.
Okay.
It's a great movie. It's a big hockey movie that you could mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say it right now?
No, I'm saying if you mention some obscure hockey movie, My First Skates or some I don't know, it's a small short film about hockey. Oh, cool. But Miracle is one of the biggest hockey movies of all time, Danny.
It's so great.
Good reference.
It's a great American story. We beat the Soviets.
Of course. Yeah. We had to. Somebody had to do it.
We had to.
So we're talking about
Not
Andrew
much.
Toth's episode, Creating Crew Agency. We're talking about how he's creating something new, totally new. I mean, new to me.
Yeah.
Because I think I would have been excited to pursue something like this maybe when I was getting started. Because just networking is so hard to do.
Yeah.
And getting your name out there and meeting new people.
Yeah.
And it's an audition every time you meet someone new. You have to kind of prove yourself, even though you feel like you have in other places and with other people, you have to prove yourself again.
Yeah. Well,
so also, having that kind of backing from an agent is actually really helpful too, right?
That's huge because if you're networking, you're trying to market yourself at an event, you have to talk about yourself, and that is really important, but it's also kind of a little gross to say, like, I do this and this and this and this. Well, now you have somebody doing it for you.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
a
validating
skill.
you. It's like, it's actually better for someone else to say, this person's Aaron's really good at this.
Exactly.
And you should hire them.
It's a skill to do it for yourself, right? To represent yourself and to kind of say, no, my stomach growling is a feature. I can speak and I can also growl at the same time because I haven't eaten. But if you're, here's some strawberries.
I didn't want to eat them on camera because I thought that was not okay.
Whatever. The camera keeps dying. I mean,
not true.
Yeah, as long as when you're eating into the microphone, and you're covering the lens with the food, what could go wrong?
Communicating what's happening in the scene.
I think the art, let's call it, of selling yourself. It's not only really difficult and it takes practice and skill to try to recognize your own assets and then present them in the best light.
Yeah.
And do that in different ways for different people, and even if you're grumpy or in a bad mood, all that stuff. So, like you said, to have someone else kind of say, hey, I know he's picking his nose right now, but this guy is the best in the biz. It's like we kind of want to be, I think, a little bit more reserved and a little bit more humble with our achievements. But part of selling yourself is the opposite, saying no, that really is a great thing that you should appreciate.
Yeah.
And you have to you first have to do that for yourself. Even saying, oh, I want to be represented by an agent or whatever, you're saying, I'm worth that. I mean, we all are though. Look, every single one of us. That's what I loved about Andrew starting this. He's validating all of these incredible, hardworking, skilled people.
Right.
By saying that they do deserve to be represented. Those skills deserve to be represented.
Yeah.
And that hard work and that achievement of getting into a union, that achievement of being able to purchase and sustain your own equipment, that you're bringing to the table, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Could be a cart, being able to store it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like all of these logistics, they actually matter. They take really, really hardworking people. He sees that. Totally. He wants to promote that. So hopefully that too can also help people start to see the incredible value that they're bringing to the table and help promote themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because, we know that Brad Pitt has an agent who Brad Pitt, he's really good. You're gonna
want that guy.
He's a good actor. You're gonna want him. But to say that, the person who's putting the mic on Brad Pitt also deserves that kind of recognition.
Yeah.
It's like
100%.
That person is also really skilled.
Yeah. Right.
Worked really hard to get there, and might not be as good at talking themselves up as the person who's on camera or whatever.
Right.
Or been traditionally represented by an agency.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, it's exciting that he's doing this and he's willing to recognize something that has been overlooked, I think, for a long time.
Yeah, totally.
The real skills and qualities that crew have and bring to the table.
Yep.
So it's a good episode. Check it out.
Andrew Toth.
Creating Toth. Sorry, I'm off my soapbox.
It is a good
you
one.
can talk again.
No, I like your soapbox. It means I don't have to talk.
Oh, okay. That's true.
Just make sure that the GoPro's blinking red.
Yeah.
Kevin Masterson.
Laughin'
Through the PAin.
Dude. He was so funny.
So funny. Gosh.
I hope he does get like a gig in town that we could go to, because I feel like he would be so funny to watch doing stand up, and I love laughing.
He is. I know. Yeah. We need a chance to unsettle.
Yeah, exactly.
and shake the camera. That's not there.
Exactly.
No, Kevin's a great episode.
You said the title, Laughin' Through the PAin.
Laughin' Through the PAin. Kevin is known as a key PA, kind of the head of all the PAs.
Yep.
The most experienced PA.
Which stands for production assistant. Super important part of the crew. Yep. Actually, kind of like a backbone in a way, right?
Totally. It's like the gap filler for all the things that don't have a person assigned to.
I saw the op is doing like a 2-part
I saw that too.
thing about production assistants, which is really great. It's cool. Awesome. I'm like, that is 100% what I want to see, let's talk about how important these people are and what they bring to the table. So.
Yeah. Check out the op. That's another podcast, Dave Comides.
Yeah.
Another person we should interview, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, now that we've got podcasting in the entertainment bubble that we've built here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I can't talk about that. It's a future episode.
Future episode. It's okay.
Sorry, guys.
You really
keep talking about things that haven't happened yet.
If you didn't know, our interviews are recorded beforehand, not every Tuesday morning as you're listening to them.
I know. Yeah.
We record 4
Embarrassing.
4 in a row. We smash them all together and then release them at different times.
So they're all stuck in my brain right now.
Crazy.
I'm excited about stuff that's coming up. But
way to go, Aaron.
Yeah, my bad. Anyway, we're talking about incredible key set PA and what PAs do, what they bring.
Yeah.
He talks about it.
He talks about lockups. Like a lockup is
great.
a good example of a PA, which is go listen to the episode. You can figure out what a lockup is. But it's someone who's like standing in the sidewalk saying, "Please don't cross here. There's a movie shooting over behind me.
Yeah,
we can't let anybody cross right now." Just a tough. I always feel for PAs every time they have to do that, because it's a public sidewalk.
Well, they have to have
shutting down.
They have to have like the confidence of the producer,
right?
To say, totally. "Oh, you can't be here."
Exactly.
I mean, what?
You're like,
dude.
Yeah. Listeners, you can actually cross. Like, you don't have to listen to them, right?
Yeah.
But your job as a PA is to
present
the authority exactly as if you are not allowed to.
Right.
It's, man, gross.
Well, and they're technically at the entry level.
Yeah.
So you have
exactly
not a key set PA. That takes a long time, a lot of experience, and a lot of hard work to get that opportunity. But a PA is generally an entry level position, and yet you're literally requiring this person at an entry level to control your set.
Yeah, totally.
To make sure that there isn't any interference that's going to create a delay or make you have to go again.
Yeah.
It's a really important job. And it's not the only thing they do. That's just during the shot while we're rolling. That's usually what a PA might be working on. But actually, one of the things that I want to shout out while we're talking about PAs, something kind of probably subtle that I think a lot of people will understand, is that PAs are a part of the communication on set that is, if it's not there, you can't like go, "Oh, where is that communication?" That's not happening. They parrot the AD, who is the primary communicator, right? And for communicating broadcast communication to communicate to the whole crew.
Right.
So they're a part,
they're the
essential
echo.
part, an echo of the intentional communication that's happening.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but dude, how often do you turn around, you just look around to get information?
Yeah.
Like people constantly come to us as camera operators. "Hey, what do you know? Do you blah, blah, blah." And we're giving out information, that we know, But where do you get information, Dan?
Right.
You get information from an AD, hopefully.
Yeah.
But if the AD isn't the first person you see,
Right.
and you see a PA, do you go, oh, it's just a PA?
Yeah.
No. You go, this PA has vital information.
Yeah.
This PA might know something that I don't know.
Yeah.
And so they're gatekeepers of really critical information on set.
Yep.
And it's something that I don't think we kind of appreciate as much as we should.
Yeah, totally.
Because it is so important to get that information to the places that it belongs, but also to be able to connect and stay on the same page as an organism.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That was our first episode with a technical difficulty.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it was our first, it was our first Zoom. Mm-hmm. It was also our first, the first half of that interview is over the phone.
Yeah.
He's on the phone.
Yeah.
Going to work or something. And then we lost him for a second and we picked it back up. But
you did a good job.
Oh, thanks.
Making that work, actually. Because
no, it's fun.
Danny was able to finish that episode, even though we had technical difficulties. Yeah. And it was one of my favorites.
It was funny.
It's really funny. He's funny.
I was going to say funny. He's the one who saved it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He totally took advantage of this blank space and just filled the gap.
It was so good.
So funny.
Well, but it's also just nice to talk to somebody who's just so down to earth and very flexible and he says something. The title kind of hints at it, but he says something about some of his personal struggles in there and how I think he quotes Roseanne, but like talking about being able to take something hard, take pain and laugh at it, being able to actually like, the alternative is crying, I think he says.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's important, I think, to remember that we have to like make light and enjoy some of the struggles that we've personally gone through in order to get past them, you know, and like get over it.
He's like seizing that opportunity. He's like looking at everything in his life and going, how can I use this?
Yeah.
Even the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, let's talk about his.
Oh yeah,
his
you're right.
You want to explain to the listener what a $5 Friday is?
I would love to. One of the things that we enjoy on set sometimes is a $5 Friday bucket where you can put $5 in the bucket and get a ticket, and they do a raffle. And at the end of the day, somebody wins some cash, and it's a good time. I don't really like gambling personally, so it's not really my thing, but I like to put a ticket in the bucket, see if, And
you can buy a ticket
if it works out. Else. You can buy a ticket for somebody else. It's a nice way to kind of like show, some intention, maybe this person will win.
A lot of times the
But that's what $5 Friday is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
PAs will win the whole bucket because somebody wrote PAs on the ticket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. Yeah. And that happens a lot more than you think.
Right. So it's an opportunity to put money into the bucket if you want to share it with a random winner or to kind of try to help someone else win.
Yeah.
If you
and Kevin was always really. I've seen him do it a few times, and he's really good at promoting the $5 Friday, at pulling cash out of people. You can't win if you don't play. He's got a whole performance with it, and it makes it really fun. And because of that, he's created, buckets that have a lot of cash in them. But when the pandemic started, we didn't have sets anymore, and he took that opportunity and took the $5 Friday idea and put it online.
Yeah, did it digitally somehow.
And, created a Facebook group, and his first bucket, I guess, his first week of doing it, he generated something like $27,000.
Wow.
Which part of it goes to charity, and then the other part goes to someone.
That's great.
But check out that episode. We talk about that. But man, what a absolute logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
For that whole thing. Because the bucket is, the idea of the bucket on set is fairly easy. You got a bucket, you have a roll of tickets, You purchase however many tickets. I pull those tickets aside and I hand them to you. You write your name on it. You're taking care of your own tickets.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, I mean, you pull out a ticket and it's got a name on it. Everybody's watching it happen.
The cash goes to somebody, and then the done.
Yeah,
that's it.
Online, you got to be like so meticulous to do that properly.
Right.
But also, just being able to see the value of connecting us, I think.
Yeah.
Part of it, because I think really one of the maybe obscure or abstract parts of this is the fact that it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Like I've been on sets where they didn't do it at all and it's, whatever. But then I've been on sets where they do it and it does give the whole set some energy and something to think about and look forward to at the end of the day that we're all part of, whether we're engaged with it or not.
Yeah.
Like
you can be happy for the person or you can be angry. You're like, that guy won last week.
Exactly. Like I'm not usually directly involved. I'll put a ticket in or whatever, but I'm not usually expecting to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I probably have left 75% of my tickets in the bucket.
You okay over there?
I got a little. Yeah. I've left my tickets in the bucket, and I was wrapped early.
Oh yeah.
So there's been a lot of situations where even if I won, I don't know that I did.
Yeah.
And no one told me.
They would have.
No, but my point is,
I know.
Sometimes people leave early and they can't stay at the end of the set.
You didn't get to experience the climactic part of the bucket.
Well, like if it's $5 Friday and you got some tickets in there, and you're the B camera, and then they wrap you early, and then the last shot looks like it's going to take another hour. You stick around for that bucket?
No.
That's my point.
Yeah, I know.
My point is that sometimes the bucket can't be that important to you. Like if you would rather go home early, the bucket can't be your priority.
Well, then that's why you write PAs on that.
Exactly.
Because they're sticking around until the very, very, very end.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
I know.
Because, we do have all very different roles on set. Yeah. And when the first person you see is also the last person there, that itself is a really, really huge, high bar that you're asking a PA to jump over.
Right. So
I think we should continue to appreciate that difficult job.
Yeah. He had a funny story about an acting opportunity.
Oh yeah,
right?
The Muppet story.
The Muppets or Sesame Street.
Oh, they're Muppets.
Yeah, they're Muppets, but specifically.
Yeah, Muppets is a broad category.
Yeah, but I was differentiating the Muppet movies.
Well, okay, sure. Like Muppets Take Manhattan is one of my favorite films of all time.
It's pretty good. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. What are we talking about? Muppets?
His opportunity. He's acting out. He lands
got a great
a role.
Muppet story.
He lands a role on a shoot with Bert and Ernie, I think. Yeah. And he's given a line, and
it's good.
It's really good.
Listen to the story. It's really good. To it.
Laughin' Through the PAin.
Yeah, I've never met a Muppet.
Oh, dude, I would love to work on a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Who wouldn't?
I know.
When's the next Muppet movie? It's got to be soon. It's like every, 7 years?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's got to be a system.
Jason Segel needs to get on that.
Oh, is he in charge?
He did the latest of the Muppet movies, the two latest ones.
Yeah.
He wrote. I don't know if he wrote both of them.
Did he really?
He wrote it, yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Wow, I'm such a big Muppet fan. I didn't know that he wrote those.
We should get on the show. We should get him on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is a good story. Any story about Muppets is usually going to be one of my favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of a sucker.
Well, the thing that makes them so funny, at least from what I've heard of people telling me, is that the Muppet, the puppeteers, are so in character.
Oh yeah.
And when you're talking if you're trying to speak to the puppeteer, to give them a direction or scoot over a little bit or what.
They'll talk through the puppet.
You have to talk to Kermit. Like,
right.
You're not talking to the guy underneath the little stage or whatever.
Right. It's method. It's method acting.
It's very method. And I bet they, that would be a great episode.
Oh, yeah, I know, actually. Right? Well, but that's part of, I think that's kind of similar to what we were trying to like get at with the whole like settle thing. It's like this double-minded, I'm engaged, but I'm also, not like if you're controlling Kermit, then you're Kermit, but you're also not Kermit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis, still Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's not Lincoln, guys. His left foot might be Lincoln. I don't know. Oh boy, that was. Anyway,
there's a certain level of respect with PAs that gets sometimes trampled on.
Yeah. I mean, we could use a PA right now to lock up your driveway.
Yeah, we could. We could use a studio to record these episodes.
Yeah.
No, he talks about a lockup that he had, and someone was talking, and they don't stop talking, and he kind of fires back at him.
Yeah.
And some people might listen to that and go, shouldn't have done that, right? Which, sure, maybe but also like.
It was kind of nice to hear him say that because he's also like highlighting something about our industry that's a little bit annoying, which is the fact that the reality is most transportation drivers are amazing and really, really hard workers.
Yeah.
So he tells a story about somebody who might not fit that that traditional profile of a transportation driver.
Yeah.
But there's also another thing about this business where there's a lot of kind of like keeping it in the family in terms of who you hire. And that doesn't mean you're getting the best person, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go to the ABL agency to find the best person, so you're probably not the best person. But he calls out a little bit of that, like that traditional nepotism. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because...
It's good. And it's like, you're like, yes, finally.
Get him.
Somebody like...
I mean, I don't know if it was passive aggressive because he didn't know the guy, but
we don't know. We
weren't there. But in general, it does seem like it made I felt validated listening to his story because it feels a little bit like there are people who are willing to kind of take an opportunity that's handed to them and then do a lesser job.
Yeah.
Than somebody who worked really, really hard to get there.
Yeah. And we're all on the same team. Like we're all trying to we're all working really hard and we're all trying to make this thing happen.
Exactly.
So there's no need for that.
Well, what the story that we're referencing, he's talking about somebody who's basically holding up the production.
Yeah.
Somebody who's choosing to write their own dialogue is a way I like to put it.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking on set and the set is about the script, then you're actually writing your own dialogue.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that, but it's a really offensive thing to do on a producer's set.
Well, it's
to write your own dialogue.
And it's also very like basic.
It's so basic. Yeah. We're all here to make this and you're the one who's talking.
Right.
And ruining it. You're like, get out of here.
We're rolling. Yeah. Like that's such a common phrase that's
quite on set.
It's like when someone looks at you and says we're rolling, it means you're doing something disruptive that's keeping us from actually rolling.
Right.
So stop.
Yeah. Well, another thing he does that's really cool is he sticks up for the background actors.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Kevin with fury.
Yeah.
It just made me so happy because background actors are a really important part of our business as well. They make an empty parking lot feel like a real parking lot.
Right, exactly.
They make places that are literally fake feel like they're somewhere else because they're there. Like, oh no, we have to shoot cafe scene against this wall.
Oh my gosh.
Bring in our background actors and give them a couple cups of coffee and do the things that we need to do. And all of a sudden we're in a cafe. How did that happen? Background actors did it.
They gave life to it. There's one of my favorite movies, When Harry Met Sally.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene.
Oh yeah. That's a great reference.
Where they're they're eating salad at a table and there's nothing else there. And it's so obvious to, Kimmy and I watch that movie every year. And every time that scene pops up, she's like, here it is. This weird, lifeless scene. It's a great movie. It's a great scene.
Yeah.
It's a great, obviously Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are great, but man, it lacks a lot.
Yeah.
And I always think, I'm like,
I thought you were going to say something good about the background in the scene.
No, not in that scene. There's a great scene in When Harry Met Sally.
It's such a good movie.
Where the two guys, Billy Crystal and, I don't know his name, they're at a football game.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of background, and they're all doing the wave together.
Yeah.
And it's a really great scene.
Yep.
That uses the background as a highlight and actually has a great punchline with the joke.
There you go.
So they're
good and bad examples.
They
in the
use
same
all
movie.
their money for background in that one scene, but not in the cafe scene.
Dude, and there's probably an AD out there right now going, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was asking for a couple more people. That's all I needed. But they fight for it because, it is important.
Yeah.
It does lend a veracity to the image and the scene that we're doing. That's super important. And I think when you're able to see a PA like Kevin stand up for background actors who his story is about people disrespecting background actors.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it because he's talking about something super basic and something that, when you're not willing to see people's humanity, it's very easy to see them as something else.
Right.
But when you're dealing with people, you have to see their humanity first, I think.
Yeah.
And then put them into the category that, is that blinking again?
Oh, no. Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, we've gone on long enough.
Well, I don't know. Oh, yeah, we're at an hour. Of course. I start talking about
the
philosophy.
No, you're talking about something very important.
No, but in general,
being seen as humans, and
you have to,
or everyone actually
identify everybody and the person that they are, and they got up and they came to work today.
Yeah,
and we're all thankful to have every single person who shows up to work with us every day.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I really appreciated how passionate Kevin was to defend.
Totally.
A fellow filmmaker.
Yeah.
It made
it's a little heroic.
Me so happy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Go listen to that episode. He's so funny and he's so talented. Oh my gosh, dude.
So funny.
Cannot wait to listen to that guy stand up. Oh my gosh. I'm like dying. I'm itching. To get to a show.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for listening to our recap episode. Check out these episodes, cross coverage across genres, creating crew agency, and laughing through the PAin. Nice. I love saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. Laughing through the pain. PAN. All right, guys, thank you so much. It's been an hour. We're going to let you go.
All right, bye.
Bye. If you like what you heard, subscribe to Scene Change wherever you get your podcasts.
Tune in every Tuesday and check out our Instagram at Scene Change Pod.